And I'm really excited to talk to you about promoting the album.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd love to hear all about it. I'd love to hear all about your tactics.
I definitely have tactics. Really, if you know anything about me, I got a plan.
A plan. You know what? When we first met, I couldn't tell if you were funny with everyone or if you were just being funny with me. Because you're quick and like you're really also I think when we were both younger, when you were younger at that time and I was also younger.
That's how the past is.
At that time. Fuck, the past don't be like that.
It does.
I feel like you were a little bit faster than you are now. Not to say that you're slow, but like I feel like it got dialed down. Do you think that's age? Because I feel like that's come for me in other like aspects of my life. Or I was shy, and in contrast to you, I felt it more. But anyway, all that to say, I'm so happy you're here because I feel like I could just sit and talk. Fucking, we can just talk, and you can like keep up, and you're funny, and like I'm so comfortable around you.
I'm not gonna drag you down. Yeah, everybody lick the edge of your glass.
Tahini.
I got tahini in my nose. No, you know how when you meet someone and you just feel like, oh yeah, I could be friends with that person.
Yeah.
That's how I felt when I met you. But I am funny with everyone. Sorry to report that.
I figured you were funny with everyone. Thank you, because that's how I felt about you. I think at that time too. I felt that way in my life about people. Like from afar, I tend to romanticize people a lot. In many ways, like whether it be musically, on a friend. Usually it happens on a fantastical friend level. Is that how you would say fantasy in that
Sure.
iteration of it? Fantastical?
Maybe. I think it's part of what makes you a good songwriter is because you're imagining outcomes and scenarios.
Totally.
All the time.
It's just not really rooted in reality. That's the thing. So when that translates, great for songwriting, but like shit for people because not everybody wants reciprocity or even thinks about it. Maybe.
Yeah.
And so I can tend to future cast and fantasize about like what this friendship could be, like what we could be. All that to say, I did feel connected to you when we met. It was reciprocated.
Have we turned out good?
Yeah, I think so. I think we should be closer.
Oh, yeah. You're probably right.
But not should. It will happen. But it will, like, you're a very busy person.
Well,
I'm a very busy person.
Yeah, but
I have a family. Like,
can you swear on your podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a dumb excuse.
It is a dumb excuse.
Meanwhile, I just didn't
was the curse?
swear.
That is a capital D dumb.
That's a dumb excuse because I also like being friends with you, and I should just set aside more time for that. Because you're a busy person too. I mean, you have an actual child.
I do. I do. But and that's asking a lot too of like friends,
especially in a town and in an industry where it is all about how you can leverage your relationships, and like you're talking about like fantasizing what we're gonna be. You know, a certain amount of that might be, what can I do with this person? What can I create with this person? How can this person help me get where I'm going? How can I help that person get where they're going? And you and I don't have as much of that for each other. Like, I can play guitar in your shows when it comes up, and
where's
I guess
our
I
crossover
can ask
been?
you to record something for me maybe or something like that. But like, we're not in the same worlds necessarily.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
You're not going to be, unless you got some kind of plans you're cooking up that I don't know about. You're not going to be a pop country artist that's going to need a guitar player or whatever I do.
No, but I'm a rock songwriter, whatever the fuck I am, artist who,
Yeah.
you know, might need to put people on salary one day.
From your lips to God's ears, I would gladly ride off into that sunset with you.
So in that sense, I do fantasize. I have fantasies about that. Like when you say leveraging relationships, it instantly puts me in a like bad headspace.
Right.
That I interpret that as negative. But when you describe it as the way I'm talking about, like what can we be? Like the future of our love story and our connection as two people who, like us or anyone, not like leveraging gets a bad rep, but I guess some of the fantasy is in, well, we all grew up maybe not crossing paths with people that are interested in the same things. And so now that we're a lot of us are focused in one area, there's a lot of opportunities to play. It's like you're at the playground, but then unfortunately I think a lot of the other stuff infiltrates it, and that leverage word becomes a little bit convoluted and gross. Because I do agree with you. I do have like deep in my, that I don't say out loud, have fantasies about like, if a lot of people resonate with this thing, and I'm able to I'm thinking entourage, like, oh my God, my friend who's been shooting videos with me for the last 5 years, oh my God, let's just work together forever. And this person is, oh my God, like that is my fantasy, because I never started music to be doing it alone. And yet I've found myself alone making songs a lot, and unless I'm, or in sessions and co-writing. But yeah, I totally hear you.
And I didn't intentionally use the word leverage to create that connotation, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
Because that is a bad thing.
Can be.
It can be. I don't want to think about my relationships only in that way, though. Like that's something that the business that we're in does to you. That's something that capitalism does to you. I mean, now we're in a whole thing.
Enlightened or whatever.
but that's not, what I was drawn to you. What drew me to you was not that I thought you could do anything for me.
Same.
It's that I thought you were making cool art.
Same. And I hadn't seen someone that
which really saying something for you, because I was not good at pedal steel guitar back then. But
Really?
They had me set up right up front, and heavens.
Can you talk about how we met?
We were double booked at Third and Lindsley. Is that right?
Oh my God. We were double booked.
I believe
that's right.
You were not originally on that show.
I was not.
I was not.
How did I get there?
I did not hit her. I was
not. I was living in Florida at the time and drove up just for that with my band.
That was the only show that you drove up for?
Yeah, I did crazy shit like that all of the time. Routing out of Florida. What?
Yeah, well, that's hard.
To do like I went like open mic in this city and just come right back. And let's go to Atlanta and just come right back. Like,
That's hard. Yeah.
Insane stuff. Okay, so I guess we were double booked.
Yeah, we were double booked. And the person / people that I was playing with found out that we were double booked. This is my distant recollection.
What is the artist's name?
You may need to talk to Haley and or Daphne.
Haley Steele. Oh, was Daphne on the bill too?
I think so. No?
That would make sense at that time with that.
I can check back on my spreadsheet of every show I've ever played if you need me to.
Fuck, that gives me like a business music boner.
Okay,
so
but
hard to hear you say that.
It's really fun to just like go back like what was I doing 6 years ago?
Yeah.
And then think about where I am now.
It's incredible.
And it's a wonderfully rich data set that helps me.
Yeah.
That helps me put my whole life in perspective and see everything from a distance, that in a way that a diary can't, or certainly not my memories. Heavens, we can't trust those. Anyway, whoever I was playing with found out that we were double booked and listened to you or checked you out and decided that might as well do the show with all of us. And I'm so glad that's how it worked out.
Right. That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you like blew my mind from my little, I feel like, because I was like the kid that came from Florida that wasn't having much of an original music scene going on, and being kind of one of the only people doing that, and then coming to a place for the first time like Nashville, you know, and you have like stars in your eyes and just excited to like keep the grind going and play all the shows and meet all the people, and then seeing live music and being like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be at. I remember thinking that like, oh fuck, I'm in the right weight class now, kind of a thing. Like I'm getting closer to maybe like my peers, my people that I want to be absorbing from.
It's funny because my thought seeing you was that, why don't I know about this person already? Like that you were that you were either in your weight class or you had exceeded it.
Honestly, that's a thing that's a comment I get a lot, and it's kind of it makes me feel good and it's really tough because because I think for the last 10 years this has been happening where like it's just like some people will find me, whether it be at a show or I get to an opportunity to open. At the time I was getting to open for a lot of different people. And shout out to my old, you know, like cheerleader, partner, manager, who helped me start when I was in college, and he worked at a music venue. He was the talent buyer. I'll put your handle here, Chris. And he would book me to play all these.
Can I put things there?
100 at any time.
Like if I'm just want to hold an apple, it's done.
Can you put an apple there?
Well, I'll tilt my hand like that so it's easier for the Photoshop.
Perfect. You gonna eat it? Perfect.
I'm so sorry to interrupt
Casey
you. You were
can
having
do
a
it.
nice thought about your manager.
Yeah. I mean, it was my first experience with someone believing in any, you know, I didn't have any idea of the fact that I could possibly make a career in music. And anyway, he caught wind that I played cover gigs and was slowly writing some songs, and he ended up booking me to open up shows at the theater that didn't have openers, but like random one-offs, like Jeff Daniels, you know, the actor.
Cool.
But he also plays folk music.
All right.
And early days Brandy. And so I like cut my teeth. So then and then I was touring a ton, but then I guess when I got to like Music City and when I started going to places where people in music or people who like really knew music started seeing me, they would say like a lot of people, I get that a lot. And like, it's lovely. I love when people say that. It's just like a reminder that I'm like not where I want to be. We could cut this, but like, do you know what I mean?
Haley's
like,
got an amazing song about that. Have you heard her song "Where I Thought I'd Be"? It's devastating.
Fuck.
It'll mess you up for people like you and me.
Yeah.
maybe this wasn't a good idea. Maybe we shouldn't do this. This is too intense.
No, I mean,
now we're changing the name of the podcast from Enlightened to Endarkened.
And depressed or whatever. The thing is like, here's the thing. We have peers that are, and you've been on the road way more than I have for longer periods of time or like longer stints at a time. Here's the thing. I'm not supposed to be there right now. I'm not supposed to be. I have a daughter. I have a beautiful life. I think about the fact that if my career as an artist, because as a producer, a lot of amazing like benchmarks have happened, and like as an independent person, a lot of like fun things have been able to happen. But like as an artist, my own expression of self, besides, you know, like my own never feeling like I am fully realized when I'm making things. I hopefully will get closer and closer to it as I get older, and closer to my source material. But, you know, anything that would come from that, such as being well known and playing big shows, I don't think is a byproduct that was meant to be happening right now for me, because I see also the life that a lot of people who are having to keep their road life up to make their living. I'm so grateful at this juncture that that's not something that I have to be doing, because I can be with my daughter and be in the studio, play shows while I'm working on a record, meld songs, and keep, there's no like end date to us. We can, I mean, if anything's taught us anything, if time's taught us anything, the masses find people at all different times. So
Absolutely.
I'm more than happy to be touring at 60. Like, I'm not mad about it. So, yeah, but that's funny you do say that, because I have heard that, and it just tells me like I'm getting closer to my source shit. Like when people that I respect are saying that kind of stuff to me,
all you can do is make what you think is the right thing to make and hope other people resonate. That's all you can do.
Exactly.
Because you say like being well known and playing big shows. If that was really your goal, you would not be writing the type of material you're writing. Mm-mm. Or it is your goal and you're just doing a really bad job.
No, it's not my goal. I think
because I don't think it is your goal.
I think when I was younger, it was my goal. I'm gonna take you can snap this out, but I'm so fucking hot, dude. I thought that this sweater was gonna be just such a cool.
It's a lot of material.
Visual.
It's a lot of material.
It's like, so much fucking material, dude.
It's like on Drag Race when they have to make something out of like a quilt or whatever.
I commissioned this for like my last EP.
I mean, it's beautiful, but it's a lot. My girlfriend has Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune disorder, and she has like terrible hot flashes, and so sometimes she just like literally takes off all her clothes and lays down on the hardwood floor.
I hear it. I respect it, because you can't be hot like that.
You can't be hot like that.
I was wondering if I was gonna be able to continue on.
No, can't continue. Had to do the snap.
Oh, I feel so much better now. I can really.
You could have done that before. You didn't need to take off your sweatshirt to spread out.
It feels so much better.
There you go.
Fuck that sweater. Okay. I
hope you don't feel like
don't want to be famous.
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't want to. That's the thing. I want to be respected. That's my own shit. But like, I want to be respected by my peers. Here's the thing. Gonna sound like an asshole. We know how to make people clap, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's the gig.
Oh, that's fun. Like, I know how to. I can perform. I can not just make people clap, but like being in a moment. And that, that's not clapping isn't transcendent. You can make people clap. It can be. And I've had like transcendent moments, but I'm not like seeking like clapping. I'm not seeking like keeping up with like, I'm going to fucking stab myself in the foot. But like, I'm not the person that's going to be like live streaming to my fans every day. I need to be in my life. I need to be a happy and healthy person. My customers are not, an audience. And that's all. Speak on it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I don't feel that need to be like, I've faked it and gotten attention in the past. That's not sustainable because it makes you sad.
Right.
Faked it by being like faking it, meaning maybe not fully being myself. And I used to meld myself depending on who I was opening for, just to get the gig. I'd be like, oh, Tegan and Sarah. Yeah, I could bring on a fucking electronic person to do it and like make my songs a little. I'm opening for this. Okay, yeah. I could be solo. I could bring in a cajon player. Whatever the opportunity would need, I would meld myself just to get the gig and pitch. We would pitch me accordingly to that instead of staying me and letting the things come, which as of the last, since I've moved here has kind of been my MO because I learned that that's not. That led me straight to like.
You're describing that like it's a mistake. And I see it more as a step along the path to being okay with being yourself.
Yeah.
You've changed a lot in the time that I've known you. I still think you're great. You've changed really, and I've come to this podcast to tell you about how you need to go back to the way you were doing it.
Tell me.
I'm just kidding. But I have too. And because you have to get mature enough to understand that any opportunity that does not want Emily the way Emily is not worth having. Any opportunity that does not want Ellen the way that Ellen is not worth having.
If you don't know who Emily is,
how can you get those opportunities?
You're flailing.
Right.
And that's what like youth me did.
Yeah.
And if you don't know who Ellen is, you're like, you'll run anywhere.
Exactly. But you have to do that in order to know not to.
Correct.
At least I had to, and it sounds like you did too.
Yeah.
And so I don't see it as a mistake. Although I guess you could say that some of those, opening things might have been missed opportunities, but also opening for bigger bands is overrated.
It's the most overrated. I'd rather have like an attentive, smaller, audience. And I think working at a music venue taught me that too.
Yeah.
And like,
there's the best case scenario you're opening. This is also like not Ellen's podcast of advice to bands, so we can move on from this topic. But the best thing that opening for a bigger band can accomplish for you is what? That you sell a bunch of merch to an adoring fan base that isn't yours?
It depends the fan base, though.
Maybe.
After I opened for Brandy Carlisle in Athens, Georgia, one time at the Melting Point, I can go back to Atlanta to this day.
Yeah.
Because there are people, but that's more of a testament to those artists' fans, and that's rare.
Exactly. I mean, there's tons of bands, not tons, but there's a few bands that I have played with that have fan bases like that, and it's amazing and powerful. And it's also just not the reality of how everybody consumes music. And also, we're talking about consumption of something that makes you and I feel like whole people.
Oh,
like,
God.
Like, that should not be how we're framing this. Like, I mean, it is because it's the reality of the world that we live in. And I'm not going to, not going to make any bones about the fact that commodification of art has made me a middle-class person. Like that's okay, and I'm cool with it. But also, we're really tangled up in our jobs, man. Like, we derive a lot of our self-worth from putting ourselves out there. It's incredibly safe for me as somebody who isn't the primary artist because I can share in the successes of the people that I'm working with, yourself included, and take ownership of none of the failures.
Right.
And so it's really different for me. The stakes are really different. But the stakes for you are really high. Like, your whole thing that you're trying to say. Like, the reason that you're a songwriter, and stop me if I'm not accurate about this, is you have something inside of you that you cannot say without telling your songs. You have something inside of you that is so big and so powerful that it's going to destroy you unless you do the thing that you do. Mm-hmm. I don't really have that.
You're a songwriter, though.
I mean,
you write songs
by accident when they occur to me, and if they don't come to me in 30 minutes, let it go.
That's interesting. How is it different for you? Is that primarily what that is?
It feels like a mistake. That's how it's different for me. I'm just trying to get rid of it and sweep it under the rug and move on. Once every 5 years, put it in the garage.
Can we put up some of your albums? Name some of your albums.
You're not going to put up my albums. Because they don't count as albums. They're just like long jokes.
Do you think that, honestly, I started that question without knowing what I was going to say.
Oh, well.
To finish it. I had a separate thought that I was going to ask you about, but I started framing the question a completely wrong way. Have you seen...
Are you going to reframe it, or can I ask you a question?
Ask me a question.
Do you think I'm wrong about my assessment of why you create?
No. I mean, the first time I really sat down to try to write a song, it was completely because of the need to get it out, like a complete, not even a creative poop, but like a therapeutic poop.
as so many of them are.
Just as like that's its own thing, and that taps into like its own need. Similarly, the alchemy that happens when you play with people,
Yeah.
like those little transcendent moments, or like the looks and the like, oh, like you take this, so
Yes.
like those moments, which has nothing to do with sorry audience, but like has nothing to do with like who's sitting there sometimes, because I've played to bartenders, you know, and like we've all have, or a sound person, and you just treat it like an amazing rehearsal, an amazing show.
I had a moment like that
Yeah.
once I went to music college, and I had a moment like that once in one of my like juries. Like it's like the least
jury.
It's just like the least creative environment possible, and yet I had that moment with somebody.
What was it?
We were just playing a hard song, and we were really nailing it.
And you guys,
And it's special. Now, isn't it interesting though, when there is an audience, how heightened everything is?
it's definitely can be heightened. The fact that I know it can happen without an audience, I felt it without an audience. I can think of it on the last tour I went on, where I played once in Nashville. It was like a daytime brunch in between linking at other cities kind of a gig. And like it said, like they didn't even know we were playing. And I think like on the marquee, it said like Emily Kopp, C-O-P, Bond. Emily Kopp Bond, like the Emily Kopp band. But it's all misspelled, and like they had no idea we were going to be there. But we played, just us. I think there was like an older couple there eating brunch, and they loved it. But we just alchemized.
Yeah.
You know, like when all else fails, we have our music. But oh God, when there's an audience there, because also probably for you too, I've never seen one of your shows. But like you're good at it when you're in someone's band too. You like know when to banter. Like you don't just sit back. I feel like if the artist gives you permission to be a part, you'll fully step up to the plate, which is my full intention when I can put you on salary. Just gonna be like, fucking let's rip. Because I feel
We're
like
also very funny together. I think that you and I
Yes.
have a good rapport.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think we like comedy and humor and like pa. And I think that playing live, yeah, it's not necessarily like for the audience. I've gotten, you know, my boner hasn't gone up when I've played for audiences before.
Oh, sure.
And sometimes it does, and
Sometimes
sometimes
it can so increase the pressure.
Yeah.
That it makes it harder for you to experience those transcendent moments.
Right. Or they're not a great audience. They're seated and it's supposed to be standing, whatever the vibe, right? You're like, this was weird vibes. So like I look forward to the audience though that is engaged so I can practice my comedy. And like in between my songs that I already know I can kill. So like
I'm good at that. I need to practice the jokes.
it's just like I think musicians like songwriters who play out desperately want to be comedians, and comedians desperately want to play music. Like I think about all the comedians that like sidestep to music sometimes or are good at it. You know, Sarah Silverman plays, but like I like the audience because I like to play. It's like this, but with many a whole group, and you can just kind of together, and like that's really fun to me. So it'd be really cool. Right now it's a cool thing that I think about that will be amazing to get to experience one day. I used to think maybe 19-year-old 20-year-old me, if this never happens, if I never sell out a club tour, if I never get to hire all my friends, if I never accomplish you know, I have failed, or I won't be happy. Obviously that didn't work. I went backpacking for a year, quit music, whatever. Sort of like started to really find myself. And I now understand that like when the source material is good, when your day-to-day life is happy, when you're feeling good, that would be a unique, fun experience that I would not turn down to get to experience. But it is not something that I am seeking out in like what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I won't sacrifice certain things anymore. You know, I won't do it to the sacrificial nature of like my home life and my relationship and my family. And so I think that's just kind of how it's supposed to be. Like, feeling balanced feels a lot better than being a scurrying chicken with your head cut off, thinking you're running around to try to get something that you don't even know if you want.
It feels better now.
Now it feels better, right? In time.
I don't think it felt better for me when I was 20.
It didn't.
I wanted
to
run around.
Yeah.
I wanted to be on tour and do, you know, play with every
true.
band and then not be on tour and play with every band in town and do as much, say, as just a gig omnivore. But now I'm more where you're at. I think it's because we're close in age too. But
yeah. How old are you?
30.
I forget too.
Let's see. It's 2023.
Yeah.
So I'm 34.
Okay. 2
Are you really?
years old?
Oh, you're 32.
2 years old.
You're 2 years old. Yeah. Okay. That's great. Yeah.
I'm 32.
We've really regressed.
I'm 32 years old. What year did you move here?
2010. Why do you think your broad stroke psychoanalysis of comedians and musicians aside? Why?
I know. I just sort of like fucking made it law. Like,
why do you think that? Okay, because but one thing that I can kind of extrapolate from that is that comedy is great, music is great. Mm-hmm. Why is the combination of the two not a more potent force? Why is comedy that is combined with music a sideshow?
I think that, well, let me take that in, because the first person that comes to mind for me who's not a sideshow, who has sort of transcended in both of those things in a way that he was able to transcend them not as two individual paths, but like merge them and have it be a transcendent message, is like Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
He's smart, he's funny, and then he like his music is great. And I don't know if you watched his like thing.
I didn't. A lot of people have told me to, but I have listened a little to the music and it's not my cup of tea, but
I think you need context for the whole thing. You can't just listen to music.
Yeah.
You got to watch it. But
fair enough.
I don't know why, because it does get like, it's like hokey. When I see, I mean, a musician being funny, there are some, like, I used to find, like, when I used to see I think Sarah Bareilles was funny at a time for me.
I love the band Nickel Creek, and all three members of the band Nickel Creek are funny in their own way.
Oh, I love that.
And when they put on a show, they don't obviously tour nearly as much as they used to, but they all kind of have their own fun little personalities and things that they...
I wonder if there's a seriousness to musicians, like, who outwardly are crafting an identity to, like, not crafting an identity, but like packaging their identity to like give to the world in a way that can be taken in as product or whatever. And maybe there's a seriousness to that. That's sort of letting your wall down, unless you are Tenacious D, right? Like Jack Black does it brilliantly. I fucking love that band, and they're funny. Like, I don't know, I could be wrong, but I don't know if they're like taken seriously to like be nominated for Grammys. If they are, well, then fuck me. But I don't know. It does seem kind of, when it's the other way around and a comedian does music, it does feel a little hokey, and I don't know why.
It seems to me that in either case, there's a ceiling to the level of success that you can attain. And again, we're kind of going back to what we were talking about before, which is like, why do you do anything in the first place? Is it to get those mile markers of success? Like, you know, and is that a framework that we need to unlearn in order to feel fulfilled and be happy? Maybe. But I can think of no one in either direction, a comedian doing music or a music doing comedian, a comedian doing music or a musician doing comedy, that is Katy Perry, that is Lionel Richie. No one is that big. Why Katy Perry and Lionel Richie? I must have American Idol on the brain. But it's...
You're right, though.
But who does? Nobody. There isn't anybody.
Could it be us?
Or maybe it's us. Maybe it's us. Or maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't as... There is something about the combination of those two things that isn't as potent as I'd like it to be.
Right. When I'm looking for music, I'm looking for one thing only. Whether it's like to cry along, whether it's to feel excitement and dance, whether it's to have something in the background while I clean the house, whether it's to listen to production or whatever, I want to feel something. When I listen to comedy, I want to feel something too, but those things don't really ever overlap necessarily for me. I think that's why the Bo Burnham thing resonated. Gotta watch it. You're gonna like it.
Fine. I might later. I won't. Spoiler alert. I never watch anything. Never. I don't like to watch things. I don't like to...
You don't watch this podcast?
No. I mean, I didn't know that it was a watching. Forgive me for assuming that a podcast was an audio medium.
I know, but it's like... I think if Beyonce came out with a podcast, maybe, but like...
Wait, Beyonce has a podcast?
No, but if she did, it could be audio only because everybody would listen,
Oh, really? It has to be a visual thing?
I think it's important. A lot of the podcasts I listened to of people that I had like discovered, they were all visual.
No kidding.
They were all visual, and there's context for the whole entirety of the person. Also, for me, I needed a visual because if I didn't, people would think this was Abby Jacobson's podcast. Do you know her?
Because it's someone that you sound like?
Yes.
Okay.
That like is a constant. Like every day someone's like, do you know you sound like Abby Jacobson? Maybe
sounds annoying.
Be a good thing for me. But like also the visual, I want to like play. I want to give full context. I'm not good at like promoting. Like I'm not good at TikTok. I'm not good at all that stuff. I like to sit and talk to people that come over, and sometimes we have a smoke or a drink and just like chill. And there are so many good anecdotes and nuggets of information that I wish maybe a younger me would have been able to have access to. I'm now in a place where I'm in it. I'm like doing the thing, actually. We're kind of doing the thing that we always wanted.
Yeah, we absolutely are.
I can say like, we're not here, I'm not there, I'm not, right. But it's just like, what fucking more could I want?
No.
Like, I'm healthy. I fucking, like, this is a music studio that I built. You people pay you dollars to play guitar. Like, you're a musician. I'm a musician.
Yeah, they pay me hundreds and hundreds of dollars each year.
Maybe even thousands of hundreds.
Hundreds.
Maybe even,
just hundreds.
Maybe even a couple of hundreds.
Yeah.
And I think that, like, there's something to that, and this is like play for me. Like, I wanted to...
What's really nice about that is that in a way, by us doing the thing and living our dream, we're making it the path that much wider for the next Emily.
I think so.
And the next
hope so.
Ellen.
I didn't think that until like I started talking about it more with other people, because that's not like the why. It's not like I'm here to inspire the next generation. Like, I'm like, I don't think I'm old enough for that. But at the same time, if I was in high school, I would have fucking loved something that I could listen to where I'm like, okay, this is a musician that lives in Nashville, and what's the deal? And like, she's a songwriter and has all its friends over, and like, they're talking about literally like, what did it look like? And I want to like get into it. Like, literally, like, what did it look like when Ellen moved here out of music college with a dream and a bunch of skills?
One skill. One uniquely marketable in this town only skill.
Do you think this is the only place? Is that what you decided on Nashville ultimately?
No, I mostly decided on Nashville because of its proximity to my family. And I had lived on the coast, and I was like over that. But
you did go to the
I went to school in Boston, so I had already dealt with needing to go home in a pinch and being a plane ride away. So I didn't want to do that anymore. But it is sort of a pleasant accident that I happened to land in a town that guitar is still a thing.
It's everything.
Everybody's got a guitar player.
Are you down to come record with me?
Yeah. What? Of course. Why would you even think I wouldn't be? What do you think I have going on?
I think you're so busy, man. I think you're so busy.
I'm pretty busy.
Yeah, that's
but
why.
not too busy for you.
Like, yeah.
I got a Google Calendar. I can find a window.
So I have so much music I'm making, and kind of like it's I need to be comfortable with who I'm making stuff with when it's my own music, so that I can go through my process.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just assuming you're like on playing a show or something, like too busy. Like, why would I ask you? Like, why would I ask my? You know what I mean? Just
why would I ask my friends?
You're
Is that
playing
what you
such a
almost said?
like, I don't know.
Because your friends love you and care about you and will do it regardless. Or that's the idea. That's what I would do. And I do. I mean, there are certain people. I have a flow chart of how it's not a hard and fast rule, but every once in a while I get off track with what gigs I say yes to and what gigs I say no to, and I remake a flow chart. I've made 3.
What does a flow chart look like?
You know, it's like a bubble, and then it asks you a question, and you
I don't know.
Select a path based on the answer.
Do you mean like when there's a box and it says like, da-da-da, what's your answer, yes or no?
It's box, yes? And it says, yeah, is the gig in town or out of town? And then if it says in town, you follow this path. And if it says out of town, you follow this path.
What are the questions for each path?
Well, without divulging too much personal information, there is a box that basically just asks like
pay, hangability.
No, it's about the people. Like, is it people you care about?
That's in the flow chart.
Yeah, except it names specific people.
That's incredible.
So that I'm reminded, and it's.
Wait, can you share that with me?
Sure.
Like the obviously like the blank version, because I think that's an interesting way.
The blank version.
Well,
you don't want the blank version. That doesn't tell you anything.
It's an interesting way. Well, yes, I want to insider scoop into you, but as a tool. This is like a massive tool. You created this?
No, it's not a massive tool.
This is a massive tool.
I'm a massive tool.
I'm not going to say the specifics, but did you made this?
Yeah. Emily, it's not that exciting.
I could cry reading this.
You should see.
Nobody cares this much.
You should see my Bro Country card game if you think that's cool.
These are incredible. Can I read one?
Sure.
We'll bleep it if it's not the one you want me to read.
Oh, yeah, I don't care.
So.
I've had just enough mezcal to not care if you read it.
Okay, I'm going to send you the edit of this anyway if you rewatch it, which you already said you're not going to.
I care about you a lot, but not that much.
And you don't like what you had to say. If you don't like what you had to say, you could tell me now.
I'm sure it's fine.
We have time. Don't do it. I need this.
This
is a tool. I think musicians need this. I think people pleasers need this, and I think musicians need this. Specifically, musicians that are people pleasers need this flow chart. This is incredible.
Well, you just have to decide to what you are accountable, you know?
Can I ask you? Okay. So the ultimate question on the flow chart that you're looking to answer, you go through this flow chart when you're trying to decide to take the gig, more or less. You'll reference this just as a guide.
Yeah, a tool. The flow charts when I make them tend to be when I'm in a lot of conflict about a gig or a situation, or I've got like a lot of things kind of converging.
Okay, is this gig specific, or is this for recording sessions as well?
I don't do nearly as many sessions as I do live gigs. And when I do sessions, it is a little clearer what is the path forward. Cool. Because it's either like good or it's bad. Like I have I have a little more clarity about sessions for some reason.
I see. It is, there's less elements involved.
There's less elements involved because it's like, are we making an album for an artist, or are we doing a passion project for a rich person, or are we doing pop country demos? Like I'm maybe I'm just more in tune with how I want my voice, my musical voice, to outlive me, and it's not on as many country demos.
I understand.
But if the demos pay well,
This
I can be convinced.
Gig specific. Okay. This is really cool.
I thought you were going to read one.
Unbelievable. Should you take the gig? If this leads you down the out-of-town path, one of the questions, I'm only going to read one of the prompts, and again, this prompt would lead either to yes or no. The no would send you to don't do it, and the yes would send you do it.
Does it send you directly to do it, or does it ask you more questions?
Well, if you say yes, it goes straight to yes.
Go straight to do it?
It goes straight to do it.
So it's like the last question on the flowchart.
Do I not know how a fucking flowchart works?
Or
it goes to the one underneath it? And I was going to read the one that says, like I loved, is it an experience you've never had before? Yes. I'm following the lines.
Yeah, you're doing it right.
Straight to do it.
So that question is not at the very top. I guess what I was just saying is that question is not at the very top of the chart.
Is there a now we're talking about
flowchart mechanics.
In this flowchart mechanics, how do you decide which questions go on top, and are the ones on top closer to the top biggest priority? Is that how a flowchart works?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, that's the idea. So you have to decide the hierarchy of the questions because, for instance, let me have my phone back.
Live. This is blowing my ADHD or whatever brain is really like, I'm struggling to understand how to craft that, but I love it as a guide. That's incredible.
So, for instance, on the in-town gigs, it says, it has several questions, but then the last two are, will you have time to learn or chart the tunes? And then if it will require a rehearsal, is it paid? So what I'm saying by stacking those questions is that if I don't have time to do it, I don't care if the rehearsal is paid or not. Because if I don't have time, it goes directly to don't do it.
Because you can't do anything if you have no time.
And essentially what I'm saying is if I want to do it badly enough, I'll make the time.
I see.
So the order of the questions is important in that way.
I love the people you have listed.
I do too. But it goes back to what you were saying, which is like...
That's really sweet.
The percentage of transcendent experiences that I have playing music is higher with some people than others.
Do you correlate like that connection? I see. Okay. Two different subjects. But my music teacher growing up.
What was your music teacher's growing up name? What was your music... Did your music teacher have a name when you were growing up? I want another name!
He had a name then, and he has a name now.
Gotcha.
His name's Zohar. He's Israeli.
I love him already.
He's an incredible musician. He plays everything, the guitar, everything. He would give us lessons. I joined the band. I was able to move out of choir in the 4th grade. They let you move to like band. And then I was in band until high school. And the band was a top 40-esque band where we would play top 40 like decade back hits and Israeli songs.
Nice.
For like school functions and pep rallies, like American normal typical schools might pep rally like, woo, football, and like our prep rallies were like, it's Israeli Independence Day, the band's gonna play and we're all gonna dance. Like, so I was gigging, I was playing all the time, bringing out, we learned how to, he taught us tactical, it was a very small school, so we didn't have a lot of enough people to have a marching band, let alone a football team to to march for. So it was a band. It was like I would hop from drums to guitar to sing, and he was the first person to encourage me to do all of the above, because he, the way he would talk about music, and I also think it comes from his Israeli like nature of just like being a person of the, like I'm Colombian too, so there's like a similar, like it's like a vibey, like emotional connection ability to I don't know, it's like he talks, so he described to us, imagine like 7th graders, it'd be me and like my 5 dude friends like sitting there, and like 14 years old, and he would liken music to, he would talk to the boys and then me and be like, okay boys, you sitting with a nice girl, okay, you know, it's not you hold a hand, right? You put your hand, you hold a hand, you sit, you talk, you connect, you slow, you don't just kiss. Like he likened everything to like connection with people, and specifically like intimate connection. And so I see music in that way too, where the way you described the 2 artists that you will make time for and that you know you will have transcendent moments with, it does kind of make me think about it's you can have the most gorgeous person objectively in the world, but if you don't have alchemy with them, the kiss is going to be bad, and so is the sex, and so is the head, but like
Right.
and the cunnilingus, it's gonna suck. So
bad.
like all of it. So it's like, if you liken that to music, doesn't matter outwardly like where that artist is, how gorgeous they are. If you have alchemy, you have alchemy, and I love that those are like it's part of your flow chart, and it just helps you make decisions. Because I do think that is, to have bad, you can't make music with people that you don't have that connection with. Make it, let alone play it and have a good time. You could play it, but it's not gonna be fun.
Yeah. And there are other things that go into it too. Like it's not just pure magic, you know, with and this is
Say more.
This is me coming from the specifics of the flowchart situation, but you know, like one of the artists that is listed on that flowchart is somebody that pays me enough that it is always worth doing. It just so happens that I have a high percentage of transcendent experiences with that person too.
Dream.
But there are plenty of people that I also have that high a percentage of transcendent experiences with that don't pay me as well as that person does.
Yeah.
And so that factors in. Like I can't say that doesn't factor in, because the other person doesn't pay me that much at all. You know, the other person, I'll just go do sessions with them because they say they need me and I have time. You know,
but you know that when the moment comes, when that other person is in a position to be able to like entourage and do it, like that's the dream, I guess, where there's like a belief, there's like we grow together and there's a belief together, and that is like what 10-year-olds would do.
Right.
If money is not part of it, what would we just do?
Right.
And hopefully that's the idea, where like when there is a Tiny Desk concert, you're the first call. You know, like when there is a crazy ass opening slot, like you're the call, or hopefully maybe one day big headline spot.
Yeah. But also I'm for that now we're just talking about that specific person, which is a different conversation, but like I don't think she's in it for that, and I'm not in it for that with her. Like I don't think that she is gonna be at that point, you know.
You're saying nor wants it. Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, if it yeah, anyway.
That's beautiful.
But I
just feel like I capitalismed that whole thing.
I appreciate how you've turned that word into a verb. That noun. You just absolutely verbed that noun.
I did.
Yeah, I mean, but we can't. But that's real life, right? Like, of course, in the ideal world, we would just follow those transcendent experiences. But we have to live in this world, and we have to provide for our families and make money and exist.
That's why I I don't know. I was gonna fuck. That's why I'm not a comedian, dude. If I was a comedian, I could have just said something so funny.
Yeah, we haven't said anything funny in a while. I don't have anything funny to say though.
I hear what you're saying though, and I think that's beautiful.
I mean, like if you only wanted to chase those transcendent experiences, you would not be in this town. I don't think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe you would come here to find the people to do that with, but then you would take those people and because you would find the like-minded people, which frankly, I don't think you're going to find them here, and then you would cultivate those transcendent experiences together. You could do that in Columbus, Ohio.
That's where Robin's from.
Is it?
You could do it.
You could do it in some type of Kentucky. I don't know. Like,
so say more about that. When you more or less, like, we've played shows together. You've listened to my music. You're one person who like fully respects what I do. Like, you fully respect me and you fully see me. And so when you say, I don't think you're going to find them here, I hear it and I want to know why. Because I know you know what I'm about. So I wonder why you think that. Because it's kind of disheartening because it's something I've realized. I know it. I've realized it. I've made my BFFs. I have Nick Bird.
Of course.
I just ordained his wedding. He's my brother. Like Luna walks around and he's like, Uncle Nick. And I have such close, I could say I walked away from here with like, several people that I just really love. And, but I haven't found that thing what you're talking about of someone wanting to get in a room and like fucking find it with me, and bask in the glory of finding it.
Yeah,
with me, because there's a lot of like chickeniness and not chicken like ooh like you're a coward, chicken like hopping from one thing to the next to the next to the next to the next to the next, searching blah 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 blah. And that is my takeaway from it. But I'm curious why you said that.
It's like you need to find, like when you're in your position, you're finding that connection, that unquantifiable thread that is pulling you closer to someone.
Yeah.
And you need their buy-in. They have to want to go down that path with you. And that's not why people come to a music business town. They come to a music business town to find their way to the top of whatever material success, however they want to characterize success. I mean, for myself, I can certainly say that it's like I'm just trying to have a sustainable financial life, and not just sustainable, like comfortable. Like I want to be able to provide for my family. I want to take care of my parents when they get old, as they get older, and I have one unusual marketable skill, and I have come to the town that rewards that unusual marketable skill. In spite of all the things that I have in my way, like being an openly queer person, being a kind of a masculine but somehow still feminine, like what's going on, what kind of gender is this person? I still am successful. I'm still achieving what I wanted to achieve, Only in a music business town is that going to happen. That's what's not going to happen in Columbus, Ohio.
Right.
Now you can meet people. I just looked into the camera. Was that odd for you?
Super.
Are you into eye contact?
We love it. You're here with us.
Now in Columbus, Ohio, there are a lot of people, and there are people who play guitar. And so, not that you need a guitar player. You're a perfectly good guitar player. You're a far better guitar player than you give yourself credit for, and I'm going to tell you that until I can't tell you it anymore.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because you're not looking for the best guitar player.
No. Not looking for the best manager, not looking for the best guitar player. I'm looking for the buy-in. I'm looking for like, I see it and I want to be with you.
I have played your music, and I had the facility to play your music when I was in 7th grade, 8th grade. Your music is not hard to play. You don't need to find the most skilled person to do it, but you do need to find someone who sees your heart and who understands what you're saying. That's what you need to find.
Yeah.
Godspeed. Don't know how to help you.
This is not, it's been really like intense. Great here for writing sync and whatever, which for me is my fannies, right? Like for me, that's how I keep my lights on.
Yep.
And thank God I've had it's been an unexpected like path on that. And I've been able to continue paying my bills and then dump my sync money into my artist self and not go try to like do the fucking dance so that I can go get a label's money or whatever.
Right.
And I don't need other people for their necessarily hierarchy or like financial abilities, because I've been able to sustain at this level where I can grow as an artist. And I am just coming to this realization of that is the thing, and I can take myself anywhere. And, I don't need that, like, that superstar producer to turn me into a star. Like, I'm looking for close people that want to sustain and that want to be around continuing to make music at 60, at 65, at 70. Because
and it doesn't have to be the same person as now when you're 30 whatever as when you're 60.
Right.
But you're looking for people who are in it for the right reasons.
In it for the right reasons. That's the right way to put it. In it for the right reasons. And I think also maybe here, maybe I'm judging too much, but maybe by the nature of just being here, motives sometimes are in question. You never know who is maybe looking at you a certain way that you might not even like. Yeah, we can't control how people perceive us.
Right.
All you can trust is what you feel in the moment. And I think that's something I'm definitely missing and realizing. And I, as of today too, specifically, it was like a really weird, rough day. But like, so it was like a big, I'm going to fucking cancel, like edit this out. But like there was a big sync writing camp globally. Like, and I wasn't invited. And everybody that does that is in that world was invited, or it looks that way, right? Like from me being like a 10-year-old who's looking, being like, oh, they were inviting a sleepover. I wasn't invited to the sleepover. And the truth of the matter is, like, then you have to think about do I even want to be doing that with my week?
Right.
I wouldn't have had the energy to podcast. I wouldn't have been able to work on music. I wouldn't my own music. So it's just this, it gets in your head being here of like missing out. And it's really easy if you're not super resolute in what you know to be true, which took me a second today to get back in like a really good headspace.
Yeah.
And yeah, did I tell you I sold my catalog?
Yes, you did. The last time I was in this basement.
So it's probably in progress. It's happened.
Nice.
It's done. And so it's not like I'm not like a quadrillionaire by any means. But I have a little bit of time. And I think with that time I've been able to like think about like how I want to move in the world. What I don't want to repeat. As I rebuild and I have so many songs that I've been sitting on that I now have the time to like fucking finish, and that I think you're like you nailed it, and I don't think there's anything wrong with we can be anywhere nowadays.
Well, to a certain extent, right? So if you were after, like, there are certain things that. I read a really interesting study that the Grammys did in 2018 about music cities. I wish I could remember what it was called. And basically it described how Nashville per capita is, as far as industries go, music is everywhere in this town in a way that it is not in New York, Los Angeles, Atlanta, any other music town, because the percentage of people that are in the music business here is so much higher. It's a small population, and a high percentage of the people in that small population are doing music. So if you are, I mean, I don't know, I know nothing about sync. I did something for a toothpaste commercial once. I know nothing about sync, so I can't say whether that is applicable or whether that's a relevant part of the music business to what I'm talking about. But if you are trying to get your songs sung by a country singer, you are not going to be able to pitch them effectively if you live in Columbus, Ohio. So there is certain stuff that you still can't. And for me personally, like, I still primarily play with country artists, so it behooves me to be based here. Like, I play the pedal steel guitar. Like, I moved to Columbus, Ohio. I'm one of the 5 guys in that town that can do it. You know, maybe tops. That might be ambitious for Columbus, Ohio. I don't know. Maybe there's more. Sorry, Columbus.
Is that your main right now?
I enjoy it a lot. It is connecting me with a sense of discovery that I haven't felt since I was playing guitar as a kid. But I also am still currently very bad. So there's that. It's holding me back. My badness holds me back. So, you know, I say that for you, but it may not be entirely true. Like, if there is some connection to the business side of music that you need to continue to maintain. Nah, you're saying no. Nope.
I don't know. I think if someone wants to manage me, they'll find me. You know, if someone wants to be on my team, I'm moving, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm here in the world, and I love what I love, and I do what I do, and I'm not gonna be stopping.
Right.
So like, if people jump along, then great. But I'm slowly but surely saying goodbye to like the squirreliness and hello to the owl. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The squirrel and the fucking owl just sits and it knows and it continues on its own path and it just waits. You know? It's just like,
well, and
not that it doesn't fucking do anything. It's
the beautiful thing about modernity too is that if you ever want to tap back into that squirrel energy,
yes,
you can invest in what you're doing online to try and create, you know, a flare that you can shoot up if you're trying to track down, you know, management or whatever. I'm not necessarily talking about management when I say what's advantageous about being here in Nashville. I'm talking about, like, largely the country music infrastructure. Or, like,
so out of that
if
loop.
You're not in that loop. I'm a little more in that loop.
Yeah.
I'm not in, like, the broiest conversations, but, like, anyway, the I guess also Christian music is there's the infrastructure for that too. And I'm not in that conversation. But that's what I'm talking about.
Wait. You don't believe in our Lord Jesus Christ?
Listen, I have no further comment at this time about whether or not I believe in your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
He's not my Lord and Savior.
No, yeah. But it's, you know, whatever. It's not my scene,
Sure.
Musically or professionally. And it's not yours either. So that's why I say you don't need to.
Listen, though, if anyone wants to manage me,
Yeah.
I'll send you some of my new shit. You're gonna love it.
What does a manager do? Maybe I can do it.
Honestly, you could. You just need to, like, kind of. Well,
You need
on an administrative level.
I was gonna say, do you need a day-to-day or do you need like
assistant? No, I need a big picture person
Big
for
picture.
where I'm at in my life. Yeah, I need like a playmaker. Because an assistant, a day-to-day, that's someone that, like, we, you know, can find.
Yeah. That I could do for you. That I could do for you.
And
absolutely, I can keep your calendar, answer your emails.
But, like, I need someone who might be like, this song's really special, and you want to play some shows and let's make it okay. Let's.
You need like a cheerleader.
I really need a cheerleader.
An organized cheerleader.
Very hard to be on my. Also, as a former athlete, like once an old athlete, always an athlete.
Former athlete. Tell me more about that. So I did not know that.
No, wait. We've never been down this road. Were you?
No. Wait. What? What?
You weren't a former athlete either?
I mean, I played sports in high school, but I wasn't like a serious.
You weren't serious about it?
No.
When you were in it?
No, I mean, I enjoyed it, but.
Like you didn't play off-season travel basketball?
No, I did not.
Or go to like sleepaway basketball camp?
No, I didn't do that.
Okay.
Did
Sick.
you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Nice. No, I did not do that. I was very busy playing guitar by myself in my room.
That's probably why you're so fucking good.
Honestly, it's the only reason. It's not because I practice now. It's because I practiced when I was 12. You know? I got all that hard stuff out of the way when I didn't have anything else going on. Honestly, here's the secret about playing guitar. You don't have to be that good. You don't have to be that good. I would say 95% of what I play is well within my ability. Was within my ability when I was in high school. And that's maybe even middle school, like, because I was pretty good as a high schooler. You don't have to be that good. You just have to care.
And put in the time and connect the
and like
brain,
do it
physical.
right. Like play what's, if they want you to play what's on the record, play what's on the record. If they want you to bring yourself to it, bring yourself to it. Know who that is. And be a nice person.
It's more so like etiquette, right? And like musician isms.
Totally. Show up on time.
Yeah.
Don't play while the singer is singing.
What if you had to, on the spot, rapid fire, like list 3, 5? Too much?
Let's go back to 3. Seems manageable.
3 like laws, like codes of conduct for being a professional musician, such as maybe 2 of those that you just mentioned might be included in that, but maybe rethink the whole thing if you only have 3. Like code of conduct, code of conduct, where like an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old moving to town might be the sickest fucking shredder, bro. Like, and not really know about those like etiquette things of how to like people want to, if you want someone to call you back, what would you say your tribal knowledge has taught you?
I'll tell you what it's taught me, Emily. There's just 3 things, and I'll tell you what they are. Black t-shirt, designer jeans, and boots.
Fuck yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm being facetious. I don't know. There's no
being on time.
I mean, being on time is important.
Knowing the material.
Yeah, I guess. But it
being respectful.
But this is all like really specific to like being a sideman.
It's
like,
not though. It's not. I hired someone for my last tour, a drummer who I will never name, ever. But like,
except maybe name them to me later so I know.
100%. You would never cross paths. But like, came to both rehearsals. We had like 3 rehearsals.
Wait, I think do I remember? Was I a part of this?
Yes.
And you were like, "Can we salvage this?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yes. And Nick was like, "You gotta nix him."
And that's the difference between Nick and I.
Yeah, Nick was like, "Bro, I don't fucking time for it." Like, because the thing is he's on some level, as a side person, which I think is so like reductive to like of a name for what someone who's in someone's band is. But for these purposes, we'll call it a side person, but a side musician, hired guns that are played to be in someone's band. You took time to practice at home before you came to the rehearsal, right? And we're all practicing together. It's disrespectful to everybody else, and so I think that was like his bone to pick.
Well, and that is the difference. Is that
the music?
That's the difference. Is that I care because I listen to you anyway.
You do?
I mean, yeah.
That's really sweet.
So it's like it's not that much of a burden to learn the music that's already on my brain.
Well, it's easy to.
It's not hard. It's also not hard. But that's what I'm saying is that like I don't. technique wise, I'm not like the best guitar player in Nashville, but I
beg to differ.
I don't know about that. But genuinely, like, I'm not like the fastest or the most flashy or even the most tasteful, but I only do stuff that I care about. So I put my whole self into it.
Can I ask you a question?
No, we're done asking questions. Of course you can ask me a question.
We're done.
I'm on your podcast.
Well, because it's a question that you might not want to answer.
Oh. Well, how am I supposed to know until you ask? So let's rage.
So let's see. I don't know how to, like, I don't really know, like, the actual pointedness of the question. It's similar to me, maybe, where people are like, you know, even in this moment, you're like, yeah, it's like I didn't know how nobody knew who you were. And I feel that about you. I think, like, why isn't Ellen on this tour? Why doesn't this artist pick up Ellen? Who's that fucking schlub? Like, not even that, just like, I'm not that angry about it, but like, I just had some mezcal. But like, it's like, I think my question, and I think we've rubbed on this before, like in private conversations. Do you think that like the queerness aspect, or like, I can't peg this person, specifically being in Nashville, specifically that country is your thing, it is your primary?
Yeah, I mean,
sort of interest.
Yeah, it also is just the most lucrative generally.
And happens. Okay, and
so that has a lot to do with it.
Do you feel sometimes like the door doesn't even open because, like, that you get overlooked, and maybe you don't, but like, do you feel like you get, because I can see, I'm like, this person needs to be playing with this person, and so do you feel like you get overlooked in Nashville, in country, because of those things about you, where nobody even realizes what a good hang you are, what a good player you are, what a good singer you are, because they can't even break fucking through the door because they're all just small dick energy kind of dudes?
Okay, so the first thing that I think of when you say this is that I cannot wait for when it's Emily Kopp's Music Business featuring Emily Kopp, because you would be excellent to be in charge of everything. But I kind of don't think of it that way. And instead, I see the ways that I am different as directing me towards the people with the most integrity. And I feel that way very strongly, because when I look at where I'm at in my career right now, you know, I didn't move to Nashville dreaming of not being on, you know, a salaried. I also look. We can talk about like the malleability of dreams too. I think it's important that, or how much time do we fucking have?
That's a really cool phrase. That's so true.
Yeah.
The malleability of dreams.
Yeah.
And you gotta keep checking in.
Let your dream be like Play-Doh. Like it should mold and shape with your priorities and your heart, and it shouldn't just be one thing. Like if your dream is if my dream was to play Madison Square Garden, I failed. Like I'm not gonna. It's not necessarily realistically in my future. I don't see it happening. But if you can't tell by the way I'm talking about it, I actually don't care about that a lot, because it's not actually my dream. Like my dream is to make music and make a living, and I'm doing that.
And if you get to Madison Square Garden,
wonderful,
with
what a lovely accident
you happen to be playing with, it was a byproduct of something that came from source material.
Yes, and what is wonderfully, beautifully happening through no intention of my own, through no expertise of my own, is that the things that make me different have caused me to fall into the gravitational pulls of people who are perfect for me. So it's great. I got no complaints.
I'm going to take that out of your...
Have it. All yours.
That's a fucking way to frame that.
I mean, it's not...
It makes so much sense.
Yeah. It really... Yeah. That's the reality. I mean, now, granted... If somebody with no integrity and a lot of money were to come to me and say, Ellen, I can pay you a fixed high salary to play for mostly me all year, I would absolutely be all over that, because that would be a realization of another part of my malleable dream.
Which is?
financial stability and security.
Right.
Yeah.
And nothing has to be. Exactly. It feeds another thing. I've thought about that a lot. I fucking love what you're saying. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I'm literally just like pasting it onto myself to try to like absorb that like mindset. It's really fucking true. It's really cool. And I think
it's true for you too.
It's a conversation. Well, just like you would take a gig with someone maybe with less integrity but more money because it feeds another malleable dream. For me, like Robin used to always ask me, would you, the first syncs I got, we were in Vietnam in a hostel on this backpacking trip. I was taking a break from the loop of pursuing music and more so just taking a pause. And we were volunteering all over the world and staying in hostels and odd jobs and whatnot, all while I was writing and playing and whatever, kind of living off of savings. And that's when my, music started to sink. And Robin asked me at one point, okay, would you ever take a sync from a company that you didn't support? Like, because sometimes the sync company that was repping me would email and say, hey, like, this is like a sex scene. Are you okay with your song being? And I'm like, yeah, literally, like, unless it's someone saying Heil Hitler, fucking sync the song. I don't care. And if, Mickey D's wanted a song, that was always the question. Like, would you ever take a sync for McDonald's? Because I'm like organic. I eat all fresh foods. I love vegetables. Fast food is not really a part of my life so much. But yeah, I would take it because I'm not a noble person I'm a noble person, but I'm not this like noble artist who will die by my art, because what's way cooler and what's more valuable to me is being able to feed that other malleable dream. So while it might make me look like I don't have any values in my musical career, it supports all my values in the other aspect of my life, which would be that like financial stability, which would be able to support my family and my daughter and be able to like, I'll take that McDonald's money all day if it means I can make a record.
I think the more important takeaway from that conversation to me is not the ethics of who you accept money from. It's that loop that you say you were in was a very specific pursuit of success in the music business. Mm-hmm. You were touring hard with a band, with the same people. And then you went off and you did your thing with Rob, and you discovered that there was a different type of success. Yeah. And I think that's really beautiful. And that what that says to me is that your dreams are changeable. Your dreams are mutable, and you let them inhale and exhale depending on what's going on around you and what you need and what you don't need. Like when I moved to Nashville, I was in a fledgling but hardworking indie rock band, and we drove around in our van, and the van was mostly broken and leaking all the time. And I did not know, because at that time my vision of success was that I played in a band, and I did not know until I was poached for another fledgling but hardworking country band, like a cover-ish band, that I could make serious money doing music. And then I started to realize that this kind of like cover thing, like we were doing like resorts and stuff, that wasn't really my thing. And I started to notice my friends in Nashville who were playing in the bars on Broadway. And so I kind of got off the road and I started to make connections on Broadway. And then that led to me, I was also, it's a long story, but I was teaching banjo at the time at a place. And that led to me meeting a songwriter who saw me playing downtown, when she was walking downtown with her cousins and saw that I was playing bass,
way.
and she didn't know that I played bass, and so she knocked on the window and said, "Hey, I didn't know that you played bass. Like, can you do this showcase with me in a couple of weeks?" And that led to me meeting another songwriter, and before you know it, you're playing on a military tour in Japan with Uncle Kracker. You know, it's just like, it just all, you know?
I hear you about that.
I mean, so
Wow.
but I can draw a direct line through the whole thing. You know, it was all points, you know, on my path. But when I was playing with a fledgling but hardworking indie rock band and booking shows for other bands at the time and like doing, you know, making ramen in the van, I did not know that I wasn't sitting in that van the whole time thinking, man, I can't wait in 5 years when I'm playing in Japan with Uncle Kracker. I'm not thinking about that. I wasn't thinking about that because you just do the best you can with the information you have. And the information that I had at the time was, I'm in a rock band. I'm going to be the best at being in this rock band. And then when that, you know, it's like, just like, let yourself dream whatever the dream is for where you are
In that
moment, you know?
And no, it's definitely going to change.
Sure.
I couldn't have said, like, I'm going to wake up and my daughter is going to run into my bedroom and give me kisses.
I was just going to ask, did your dream ever involve kids?
Yeah, always.
It did?
It did. It did. I didn't know how it was going to look. It never involved, like, I never fantasized about, like, a wedding and a nuclear family, but I love kids. I think probably because I had, like, like, I was connected with kids. I started teaching when I was in high school. I started taking on students to, like, be able to buy my first PA system. So a lot of the parents at the school that I went to hired me. And
so Hard didn't have a PA that you could borrow?
So I didn't have it. I did once. I did. I borrowed his PA, his Fender Passport. I think it's called a Fender Passport. Do you know what I'm talking about? It all merges
clips
together
into one thing. Absolutely.
Zohar fucking hooked it up. Are you kidding me? He's like, I still talk to him. He's like, love you.
Yeah. I bought my first amp from my 7th grade math teacher.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Who just like believed.
But those are you know, and those are the people that see that we're aiming at something.
I think that's why I love kids. Because I know the influence now that has. It's no fucking joke. It's no joke. All it takes is one adult that you believe in to say, like, what's the point of that? To really fuck your shit up forever.
Right.
And conversely, all it takes is one person you admire and respect, adult, typically, when you're growing up, to say, like, ooh, let's pour gasoline on this.
Well, I will say maybe it takes one adult to plant the seed, you know, but I think it also takes a supportive community and an environment, you know, like I think one adult can nurture it for as long as they can, but I think a confluence of factors. I don't know.
That is true. That's interesting. Do you think, because do you feel like familially too?
Maybe.
Do you get a lot of support from your family?
Yes,
in pursuit
absolutely.
Of music?
But like, did you only have Zohar?
Yeah.
You only had Zohar.
Zohar, like when I was a kid, and of course, like, I mean, my dad's a musician. We'll believe this, but he's like not in my life. He's alive, but he's not in my life. But he's a teacher. He's like a philosophical fucking. He's brilliant. If you have a phone a friend on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, call my dad. He's amazing. He's a scholastic, academic, intellectual guy. He's also a musician. He wrote a musical, but like never pursued any of it. Just sitting. He continuously through my life, like, it wasn't like, ooh, this is the thing. Let's make this special. It was just like, oh, this is who you are. I'm going to see it, and I'm going to join you with it. We did a lot of this. We did a lot of like improvisational talking, and those are some of the beautiful things I remember and think of when I think of my dad. I think of the guitar that he taught me and sat and taught me the G chord and taught me E minor and taught me A, and I could play like the best things in life are free, like E minor to A, like back and forth, and like a constant cheerleader. And then in school, by middle school, high school, and by high school, my dad wasn't, he and I weren't talking consistently. Yeah, so I got it at school, and I had freedom, whereas Zohar would pull me out of fucking classes to just rehearse for an upcoming thing, and I would just jam on the drums. I wasn't really singing at the time. I would just jam, and I was playing a lot of drums with he's still one of my best friends, Carrie Frank. He's actually coming to visit.
Let's have dinner.
If you're down to, I was gonna say let's jam, but if you're
okay,
but we should also have dinner.
Sure, either sounds great. Either sounds great.
But like, I think in that sense, community and peers, and but at the same time, like, I formed a band with some dudes that I was in the school band with. We were called Unestablished. And I went to go get us gigs, and they were like, "You're taking this too seriously." And then they kicked me out of the band and like got a new drummer. And so then I kind of felt shame for like taking something seriously. And I think that probably put a stamp on it. But like, Zohar was there for high school, and then by college, it was really self-guided. Yeah. And I got a job at a music venue, at an arena first, and then a music venue doing hospitality for artists and driving tour bus drivers back to the hotel. It's called the Plaza Live in Orlando.
In Orlando? I don't think I ever played there.
And have you ever played the Social?
Yes.
Yeah, that was like also where I cut my teeth as like a local.
Should we consult the spreadsheet of every show I've ever played?
Honestly, look up the Plaza. It would either be the Plaza Theater or the Plaza Live, but you'd remember if you knew. It's like a two-sided theater. There's a small cap room and a large cap room.
Spreadsheet here called Everything.
I would do hospitality like for artists, and then open for them, and then finish up hospitality at the end of the night.
Stardust Video and Coffee.
You played Stardust?
Yeah.
The cafe?
Yeah.
I love that place, but that's so niche. Who did you play there with, Daphne?
No, the fledgling but hardworking indie rock band.
Interesting. Okay.
World Center Marriott. What the hell is that about?
Oh, that's a touristy sort of place where they do conventions.
Yeah, I did it. It was a corporate gig. I remember it now. We drove down. It was a whole thing. But
have you ever played a place called, if you search, Back Booth?
No, because I've already been through all my Orlando, and that's it.
There.
I just typed in Orlando.
Oh, okay. Well, then we never crossed paths.
Yeah.
I mean, I would remember you, but like,
I don't know that you would have. Not back then.
But then it was my boss, Chris, who was like, I would come and I would intern during the day and then run at night, and then also sometimes open and then run. And it was like him who was like, you're an artist. You're an artist. People reminding me you're an artist. When maybe at the time my family comes from a more like Holocaust survivors, where that mindset kind of generationally continues into like survival mode, and you stay.
Yeah, art's a low priority.
Art is like the lowest priority for Holocaust survivors. Like, I know that's like an absolute broad stroke I just said, but like, it just wasn't it's business, it's law, it's grad school, it's entrepreneurship, which we do, and I love, and I used to kind of like hide that about myself, but I love the entrepreneurial side of it because I love the fact that it's creative and we can sort of mold whatever reality we want. But I didn't receive that like communal, like, keep going, which I think a lot of the hurdles, that's how I know this is what I love, because when, like, I wasn't in high school anymore, and when certain people weren't on my team anymore, and through all of it, it's like the tried and true thing is that, like, I love to express myself. I need to express myself. And I fucking love music. I love everything about it. I love all kinds of music. I love instruments. I love production. I love engineering. I love playing. I love listening. I love watching. And so, like, yes, so then I wonder, imagine what could be if I had that cheerleader system throughout. And I think, to close the loop, Luna comes to my room in the morning, and that's like, I couldn't have dreamed that. But yeah, I love kids. I always wanted kids, and I always taught kids, and I think it's because a part of me is trying to correct that. Like, it's trying to course correct. Like, if Luna's into NASCAR, I'm going to be into NASCAR.
Sure.
I'm going to learn everything about NASCAR.
Well, here's what you're doing that people in your life did, even if you didn't feel that you had the communal support, is that you're creating the permission structure.
The permission structure. My family would come to my shows. I don't want to shit talk them. Like
I'm not saying your family.
I just don't know that there's a level of permission that doesn't seem like this is totally indulgent.
Right. There's giving permission, and then there's encouraging. Like, okay, it's okay for you to explore this, but only to a certain extent is what you're saying. That was the vibe that you got.
It's like a nice hobby.
Yeah, nice hobby.
It's a nice hobby. You know, what are you gonna do, Emily? What? What? You're gonna be busking on the street forever? Which is like, look at Tosh Sultana. Do you know her?
No.
She was busking on the street and fucking. Like, I believe she's from, I don't know if she's from New Zealand or Australia, but busking on the street to selling out fucking arena. You know, like you need to follow what moves you. You fucking have to. And I know that this fucking capitalist society fucks with us, but like, if one day I become a real estate mogul, I'm still going to be making records.
Right.
I'm not going to become a real estate mogul.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
I'm not. But like, I don't think that's why musicians are like counting down the days to retirement, because it's not about like, we're not working for the break. It's like working to be able to pay bills and enjoy and savor. And yeah, it takes some fucking grind and sacrifice to get there.
See, now we're going
a lot.
Now we're kind of back to talking about what's the advantage of being in a music business city, because there are so many ways to grind in Nashville. I've done them all.
Someone built baffles for me. That was like their
somebody
side
built
gig.
Baffles for you, and that's their whole thing is baffles. Let me tell you, today I learned absolutely everything there is to know about Martin Series 41 guitars.
So specific?
I learned almost everything there is to know about Gibson L48s. I can tell you, just based on what I learned today, what is on the inside of a Gretsch Super Axe, which is a guitar they made for 2 years, 1977 and 1978, and it has a phaser and a compressor built in.
Why did they stop making it? Because
what do you mean? Why'd they stop making it?
There's a fucking compressor.
There's no reason to keep making it. That's why.
But there's something. There's a niche.
There's a niche for everything. Yeah, I'm screaming so much that my face is getting hot.
Love it.
There's a niche for everything, and because Nashville is at the center of so many intersections of the music business, if what you're interested in is music and you're interested in it in a really general sense, you can find people who are doing what you're doing here. Do you make baffles? Do you repair instruments?
You tune rooms.
Are you into acoustics? Do you like to book shows? Do you just like to schmooze and make sure that the artists have all the different kinds of cheese that they need? Like, all of that is here in a really beautiful and exciting way.
Merch.
There are so many ways to be successful in the music business. There are so many jobs. There are so many opportunities. I've done so many different things.
Name some of your oddest gigs.
Gigs?
Jobs.
I was a wholesale bagel delivery driver.
Huh?
I was a wholesale bagel delivery driver.
Do you see what's on my hat?
That's a happy bagel.
That was my only real job.
Oh, really?
At a bagel shop. Wait. And I'm a Jew. You're talking
about
bagel expert, dude.
Were you making bagels, or what was your gig? Slinging them?
Einstein's.
Slinging bagels
High
at
school.
Einstein's.
Making Sammys, sometimes in the back cutting tomatoes, sometimes taking orders. Mostly taking orders because I'm good with people.
You're good with people.
So
yeah, I was a wholesale bagel delivery driver while I was playing downtown. This would have been, let's see, like 2013, 2014-ish. And I would so the driving was very early in the morning, and then I would sleep, and then I would do shifts downtown, like 6 to 10, 10 to 2. And then I would do my bagel thing, and then I would sleep.
Why does it feel so good to do that shit, though?
It does not.
It doesn't for you.
It's awful.
I don't know what it is. You never felt this? Okay, before I was married,
You're married?
And
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
I'm married. And I think when we met, I was in another relationship. I was with a beautiful boy.
Oh.
You didn't know that?
No, Emily.
I was with a man.
I was 120% sure you were gay.
I was with someone for 7 years.
Oh, that's nice. I hope that was nice for you.
You thought I was gay?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
But, I missed out on some of my single gay years because I discovered it later. I never like hoed around.
Look,
not to say that
now we're talking
later,
we're talking about a whole nother thing, which we'll have to have another mezcal and we'll have to have another podcast to talk about that. But that's a whole other set of bananas.
That's a whole other set of bananas.
Yeah.
Let's not open that can.
Yeah,
but
we gotta leave those bananas where they are.
Mesmerizing that you thought it was gay, but
we're gonna leave those bananas until we make bread out of them later.
For sure. With my straight hair.
Yeah.
Even. Wow. I guess I just give off the fucking vibes that I just love the ladies.
Well, yeah, and I don't always get that right. I wouldn't say that's something that
I'm fluid.
Immediately understand about people when I see them. I literally just assume.
Queer vibes, though.
Yeah.
Most people think that about me.
But I also...
Makes sense. I am.
It also wasn't like the biggest... It was just like an ancillary thing.
It was like, this girl's a superstar. Ah, she's gay.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, kind of. But genuinely, I was like, I really like this person's songs, and I like the band. I like the arrangements.
That's cool. She's gay.
Yeah, it was just like an afterthought. But anyway.
It's cool. Discovering my sexuality was so fun. Honestly, it's great. I didn't. Yeah, it was whatever. But all that to say, what was before this?
We were talking about Nashville. We were talking about the different things that you can do in Nashville.
Oh, yeah.
And
belief.
Somehow we ended up
belief in oneself.
When I first saw you.
Do you want to end on like a song?
Like performing one?
That'd be weird.
Take me out to the ball game. Oh, we were talking about bagels, Emily.
Fucking goddamn bagels. Okay, I worked at Einstein's Bagels, sometimes doing this, sometimes doing that. But anyway, okay, so you're delivering bagels.
Yeah, you asked me what was an odd job that I've had.
What are some more odd jobs you've had?
Well, I mean, I've worked in fast food. Let's see. That's not that odd, though. I feel like everybody kind of does that to a certain extent.
Where?
Panera Bread in 100 Oaks.
Not fast food.
Oh, okay. Pardon me.
I don't personally. I consider it like mid.
Well,
more of an Einstein's.
Sure. I just mean in terms of like the skill set, maybe. Like I was operating a cash register and prepping food. What else have I done? And you know, honestly, since then, because I got a job at an independent guitar store in 2013 or 2014. I don't know. I didn't really have an idea for that. And I've been doing that on and off ever since. And so everything else that I've done has been kind of music adjacent. So either playing in a band or in a session or fixing something or selling stuff. I buy and sell gear all the time. That's actually how I know Nick, is that because Nick would come into Fanny's and buy stuff or sell stuff. And I would kind of bounce ideas off of Nick about like what he was into, and he actually really helped me kind of get my head around buying and selling stuff as like a side hustle, which is like not too dissimilar from what we're talking about with music, which is just like do the thing that makes you happy. What makes Nick happy is like recording gear and stuff that I know almost nothing about. Mm-hmm. What makes me happy is stuff that is like electrically broken that I can fix, or like guitars that are funky and fun and can be made into something, you know, funky and fun, or things that don't sell great in Dallas that sell great in Nashville, you know, and being aware of those kind of trends and stuff. Anyway, this is a different podcast.
What would you say is crafting this in real time.
I'm trying to eat around the lemon your mom cut for me.
She gave me a big slice too.
It says, yeah.
Thank you for the mezcal.
It's like a hockey
She
puck
doesn't
of
really
lemon.
watch the podcast. She doesn't watch the podcast. So,
all right.
I mean, she sees
I'll thank
the
her in
clips.
person.
Ma, if you see this clip, if we end up clipping it, thank you for the mezcal.
Emily's mom, thank you for the hockey puck of lemon that you put in my
Muchas
drink.
gracias por la mezcal. Listen, I'm kind of feeling like you'd be a great co-host, so
Let's do it.
maybe.
I got nothing going on. We would never let anybody else talk.
Dude, sometimes it's hard being with other people. Like if the person across from me is like still so aware that we're filming and that there's lights, there's like an onness that I can't seem to get past. Yes.
I have a question. Can you tell when a person is going to be like that? Before, like when you're asking them to be a part of it? Is there anything about them that...
I've learned my lesson, yes. But some people I never met in person. There were a couple...
Really?
Yeah. I
Oh.
took a couple big shots.
Yeah.
Yeah. I took a couple big shots.
I just assumed that everybody on your show was a jabroni like me. It was just like somebody you know from somebody that you dredged up at an Aldi.
Most of them are. They're like me. They're like, Nick.
Yeah.
People that I know will be fucking... We have alchemy. You know what I mean? It's like people I know. We're just gonna like fucking. As Casey could edit it, we throw it up. It'll be a conversation that one day when I have dementia, I can watch and remember. You know what I mean? Like maybe if I have dementia, but probably. So like, but because it's still a podcast, I want to explore. For example, there are a couple people where it's like, oh, we haven't written yet. I don't know if a write would be the first. I don't love a write being the first time we meet. And I thought the podcast would be a cool opportunity. So
It's like a very Nashville thing.
yeah, it's like awkward, and I don't know if that's my MO anywhere. I know that's not necessarily my way of creating. But
Can I tell you why I think you and I work well together?
yeah,
My passion, the thing that makes me feel the most like myself, is supporting someone else who isn't realizing their full thing. Like when you do your music, there are guitar parts that you are too busy doing your own guitar parts. You need another person to do it. And that's what makes me feel like the fullest version of myself. And so this conversation is not dissimilar from that. You would have a pretty sad conversation by yourself, And so you need somebody to volley off of. Yes. And it's making me happy to fulfill that for you.
You're amazing at it. You're a great conversationalist.
Thank you.
Some people are not.
Oh, gosh, don't I know it?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I sit here and I wish for a fucking co-host. I'm like, God damn it. And started another fucking thing by myself. Like, what am I doing?
Hey, you're talking
to Casey,
look,
but like, he's not talking.
Yeah, he's useless.
We talk for 5 minutes before he comes.
Listen,
all week.
I'm so sorry that I called you useless. Feels incredibly rude in retrospect. But we also, I think, have that in common, which is this just sort of like relentless project starting. Let me just flip up to a different list of things on my phone. This is urgent to do.
Oh gosh, yeah. Let's hear it.
I can cross that off. That's good. I have 3 kind of standing projects. One is that I am making a instrumental holiday music album. The other is that I am making a card game about bro country music.
Love it.
And then the other is that I am doing kind of half-assedly doing an oral history project about a woman that I used to play downtown with. And those are all things that I'm kind of cooking all the time. And if I had someone else who could do it with me, they would cook a lot faster.
That's the thing, and it'd be fun. I mean, writing when I'm crying and writing a song by myself is necessary, but stuff like this, working on a record, like...
I'm not going to ask you to write the cry songs with me.
Ellen Angelico, what else do you have to offer us tonight? Should we wrap it? I'm going to Lipstick Lounge after. You want to come?
You're going to Lipstick Lounge tonight?
Yeah, can I tell you why?
I'm afraid to know why. What on earth is so far past my...
It's because there's a songwriting camp, the one that I told you I wasn't invited
Yeah.
to. I wasn't invited to. And anyways, some co-writers that are in town from LA are there tonight hanging out and texted me and invited me to come, and I said, won't it be odd? I wasn't invited.
But at 10:15 p.m.?
Dog, it's 10 right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Emily,
I
do you want me
know.
to drive you? And then you
Maybe.
could Uber back? I'd be happy to.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's go to the Lipstick Lounge.
I'm not going to Lipstick Lounge.
Let's go to the Lipstick
Let me be clear. I'm not going to Lipstick Lounge. It is
I'll
absolutely
go.
not.
If you're down to drop me off, I'll take you up on it.
I will absolutely drop you off.
Great.
It is so far past my bedtime.
Same.
I will not. I can't even fathom that you're doing that.
Me neither.
My
They
beautiful,
invited me to American Legion last night.
Oh yeah, fuck that. My long-suffering girlfriend has been asleep for 45 minutes.
My wife is too, probably.
Yeah.
Fuck. Am I gonna regret this? I'm gonna go say hello. This is the thing. This is the thing about
This is
living here.
this is the thing. This is the thing. But maybe it leads to the next thing for you.
Well,
and
and
you
I
can't.
do want to see them. I'll be happy when I get it because I genuinely want to like hug a couple of these peeps. I worked with them a few months ago, and
And like all that said, on Thursday I have a rehearsal. I'm working on Thursday at ye old day job, and then I have a rehearsal. Wait, is tomorrow Thursday? Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
tomorrow. I have I'm working at ye old day job. I have a rehearsal immediately after, and then immediately from that, I'm trying to also hit this candidate that I've been supporting their election night party, and I will. It will be late, and I will be annoyed, but it's important, and it's good. And it's not, I can deal with one night of annoyance for.
you heard it here first. Ellen Angelico, presidential election 2024.
God, absolutely not.
See you.
No,
It is
if there's
important, I
anything
get it.
I've learned from my limited participation in local government, it's that I don't need to do too much more of that.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk on the right.
That'd be another podcast.
Can you introduce yourself? Thanks for coming on Enlightened
Yes.
or whatever.
My name is Roger Miller. I was born in 1936 in Eric, Oklahoma.
You have it.
Claude and Laudine Miller. My first hit, Do Wackadoo. Great song.
Great.
Yeah.
Peace.